Alright, let's take a look at simplifying radicals. Okay, so here we want to find the following roots. So the first problem, we have the square root of 25. So the square root of 25, we want to ask ourselves, what number can we square to get 25? And that would be 5, because 5 squared equals 25. Alright, let's take a look at another one. The cube root of negative 27. So notice here our index on our radical, the 3. We want to know what number can we raise to the third power, because we're taking a cube root. What number can we raise to the third power to get negative 27? Well, that would be negative 3, because negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 is negative 27. Alright, let's take a look at this one. The sixth root of 64. So we look at the index, which is a 6. So what number can we raise to the sixth power to get 64? Well, that would be 2. Okay, now let's look at number 4. Negative square root of 4. So right now we don't even pay attention to the negative sign because it's outside of the radical. And all we look at is the 4. So the square root of 4 is 2. Okay? And then in front of the radical we have a negative. So the square root of 4 is 2, and we have the negative sign. So it's negative 2. Now, this would be different if we had a problem like the square root of negative 4. Okay, notice the negative is underneath the square root. Well, we can do this, but this is another video. This is getting into complex numbers. And we're not going to talk about complex numbers in this video. We'll talk about it in a separate video. But this right here would not be a real number. Okay? You can't take the square root of a negative number. And you can't take the fourth root of a negative number. You can't take the sixth root of a negative number. Like if the index was a 6, we couldn't have a negative under the radical. Now notice here in number 2, we did have a negative number under the radical. But that's okay because the index is an odd number. As long as the index is an odd number, it's okay to have a negative under the radical. We just can't have a negative under the radical if the index is an even number. Alright, so this takes care of finding the roots of numbers. What if we have variables under the radical? Now, in these first videos, we're going to assume that all variables represent positive numbers, that they represent non-negative numbers. So here we have the square root of x squared equals x. The square root of x to the fourth equals x squared. The square root of x to the sixth equals x cubed, and the square root of x to the eighth equals x to the fourth. And then here we have the cube root of x cubed is x, the cube root of x to the sixth is x squared, the cube root of x to the ninth is x cubed, and the cube root of x to the 12th is x to the 4th. Basically what we're doing, like for example down here, the cube root of x cubed, what we're doing is we're taking this index, this 3 here, and this 3 goes into this 3 one time. Here, this index 3 goes into 6 2 times. Here, the index 3 goes into 9 3 times. And here, the index 3 goes into 12 4 times. That's where the fourth, third, second, and first power comes from. And up here with the square root, well, there's no index showing here, but for the square root, the index is a 2, but we don't write it. And see, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice, 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. So let's find the root of each of these. So here we have the square root of x to the 22nd. So remember the index here, that's a 2 on the square root. So 2 goes into 22 11 times. So we would have x to the 11th. Alright, what about this? The cube root of w to the 18th. Well, 3 goes into 18 6 times, so that would be w to the 6th. And then here, the fifth root of x to the 30th. 5 goes into 30 6 times, so this would be x to the 6th. And that's all of this first video. I'm going to break these radicals up into several videos, so you can watch some more. You can watch the rest of these videos to see how to simplify some more radicals.